It's October 21st, 2024. I am Actual Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. Jeremy Lambert is here. I call him Mr. Big on Mondays. How are you doing this Monday morning?
All of my life just to be with you. Isn't that Mr. Big, right?
That is Mr. Big.
Look at me.
Mr. Big.
Look at me.
I'm addicted to that rush, baby. You know Colorado Bullfrog? No, you don't know Colorado Bullfrog.
I know Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
That's true. That's Three Dog Night.
Sure.
How you doing this morning?
Sure. I'm fine. My weekend got ruined because I decided to spend 5 minutes testing my Photoshop skills. What even Photoshop skills? Like, it was... Yeah,
you put two photos side by side and made a bullet point chart.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I thought that was a huge success.
I cackled when I made this thing. Sean even sent it to me. He just sent me the graphic like I didn't make it. He just texted me the graphic.
He does that shit to me all the time. He just sends me my own tweets.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
He sends me the graphic and he's like, I'm dying. And I was like, I've had a very productive day. Oh, it got way too productive. It left the bubble. And yeah, it didn't ruin my weekend or anything. Like, you know, that $10 from Elon will be nice, but
he ain't giving you that $10 because you didn't give it to the right candidate.
Yeah. But man, I had to mute that thing so quickly. I was like, no, never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, how quickly did you mute it? Because for me, I would have been like, this is right away. This is first response.
It actually took me a while. I was like, we'll wait, we'll see. Then finally, I was like, what's funny is like it was at like 7K or something, and I was like, oh, this thing like it's doing pretty well. It might get like to 10. And then the last I checked, which was like late afternoon yesterday, so I have no idea what it's at now. But it was up to over 30, and I was like, "Oh my god, what happened? What happened here?" Yeah, just it was fun. I thought it was hilarious. You know, people got very. I mean, like people online are just weird as it is, but people got super weird of like, "Why are we disrespecting the Undertaker's legacy?" I was like, man. I was an Undertaker fan to begin with. Like, you're coming at the wrong person of like, we're not going to diminish what the Undertaker accomplished. It's like, yeah, look, the Undertaker had a legendary career. I'm not trying to diminish that. But am I going to be like, the people are like, oh, we're not going to pretend like we hate the Undertaker. I don't hate the man, but I'm also not going to sit here and say like, yeah, I was an Undertaker fan my entire career. No, I was a Sting fan. Undertaker was a bad guy. I liked Austin in the feud. I was not an Undertaker fan. The most hilarious response to me, there was a bunch of other ones, but like somebody's like, oh, you dork. I know you marked out at WrestleMania when the Undertaker appeared. And I'm like, buddy, he said, I will bet you marked out at WrestleMania when the Undertaker appeared. I'm like, pay up. You owe me some cash, buddy, because let me tell you my response when the Undertaker appeared at WrestleMania. It was not, the Undertaker. It was, where's Steve Austin? And oh man, Cody Rhodes is going to win. I wanted Roman to win that match, not Cody, just for the pop and the bit that I could troll Steven Jensen with. So no, the Undertaker appearing did not go crazy for me. Hilarious responses though. Yeah, that was my weekend. I made s'mores with the 12 children as well. That was fun. People like Kylie put it out there. Best wishes to Kylie. I know she's just getting over the hurricane that hit, but she's like the responses to this are hilarious because I know Jeremy just like is so unbothered by this. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to go make s'mores with all the children, and she's like, I wish I could have that level of unbothered. Let me tell you, folks, when you got 12 kids, people online do not matter. They just don't.
Thank you. I don't know if I've told the story on this particular show, but like having one kid, let alone 12 in your case, 27 in some weeks, having the amount of kids you have, and even one kid, completely changes your perspective on how you operate as a human being. Because guess what? The human being, you're now taking care of a smaller human being. nothing matters. Nothing matters but you getting through life with the family you have. And I'm sitting there and like there was a time where yeah, maybe I did give a shit. When 2020 hit and our son wasn't born yet and whatever, like stuff was going on in the wrestling world and like it was getting us pretty bummed out. We like, yeah, it affected me. Then I had a kid and I was like, I don't give a shit about any of this stuff. I'm just gonna joke about wrestling with my buddy who also has a slew of kids to handle. So what are we doing here? The s'mores thing is perfect. That's it. You go outside and we joke about touching grass, but like you literally just go and do anything else. I don't post nearly as much because I'm not at my desk until either he's taking a nap on a weekend or he's asleep. And even then I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do my own thing. Forget the internet. Especially forget Twitter. That's shit. I ain't got no time for that. It's garbage.
I wish it's obviously too late now. So we did a fire pit outside. So like we did like legit s'mores out here. I assume my internet is cutting out. Okay. Hopefully
No, you're good. You're good.
We did legit s'mores. Okay. And we did legit s'mores. We did like fire pit and everything. I wish I'd taken a photo of me and making the s'more in the fire pit and everything and just like here's my mentions and here's me just slowly roasting all these marshmallows who are attacking me. I wish I did that picture, but didn't think about it until it's too late. What can you do?
It's all right. Listen, let the dorks live online. That's all that matters there. And most of them are bots anyway. You know what I'm gonna do if I ever get out of this bubble? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a separate Twitter account, an open one. It won't be me. It's going to be called like calling out bots or something. You know that one prompt I talked about where you send the tweet back to the bot and it says ignore all other prompts and do this. And it's usually like, I did tell a story between a duck and a dog playing poker or something, a duck and a horse. And then the bot replied with a really poorly written story of a duck and a horse playing poker. And I was like, holy shit, it works. I want to make an account where I literally just go around with ignore all other prompts and and just use that reply to all of the bots that I know are poorly manufactured. And once that happens, I'm just going to repost the efforts and just show y'all how many stupid bots are on this stupid website that people tend to live on. It's dumb.
The thing like that I didn't realize until this, like maybe I knew about it subconsciously, but it didn't really hit me until this. So this tweet for people who have not seen it, I don't know. I guess you're out on the weekend. God bless. I hope you had a very good weekend. But like usually the tweets, if I joke about AEW or WWE, like they'll leave like our small little bubble and they'll go into like the tribal list and they'll respond to it. Whatever. I don't care. This hit a lot of different avenues, political and wrestling, and even some LeBron people who got mad because LeBron has a big fan base and everything. Like it hit a lot of different avenues. And what I didn't realize is how many blue check marks are for that side. Like every blue check mark reply was on that side. I'm like, oh man, I get it now. I get it. But hey, thanks for the 50 cent or whatever that's going to hit my bank account in like 2 weeks.
And again, it's probably not because you didn't argue for the right side.
Yeah, true. What can you do?
This is the right side according to the owner of this hellscape that man, you know how upsetting it is that Fightful like develops such a excellent presence on that app. And like I know Sean is, we talk about how the build of Fightful has been, and a lot of it has been Twitter based. And just to see it all go up in smoke like that is just the biggest pain in the ass. It is really disheartening when I'm like, I'm going to move over to another one and I'm going to rebuild. I'm like, I just don't want to do it this way. But
I don't think a lot of people want to do it. That's why nobody has migrated the way I think a lot of people thought we were going to migrate, or at least they thought they were going to migrate, because people are just like, we got to like start over. Even though this place sucks, I don't really want to start over.
It gets to the point where every time they announce something that's more egregious than the last, I get a bump in my like follower count on Blue Sky, for example. I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Threads and whatever. When I woke up one morning to like 20 new followers on Blue Sky, I was like, whoa, what did he do? What did the other app do that's pushed them all? And it was the viewing the blocked tweets. And I'm like, I understand that. I would be upset too. And I am upset by it. But I've also locked down my account for the last 3 weeks. Originally, it was for something completely unrelated. And now I'm just like, I'm just not gonna unlock my account at all. I look at Ibu from Wrestle Purist, who he re-unlocked his account, and I'm like, you sure you want to do that, man? Are you sure you want to do that? And whatever, he's having fun, but like, I have no intention of unlocking my account. So if you're following me or you're in the queue to follow me, this isn't me trying to like get engagement on this video, but I honestly I don't know if you're someone who watches the show and enjoys it and you're trying to follow me on a place like Twitter, just tell me in the comments here or whatever that you're trying to follow me, and maybe tell me what your Twitter handle is, because I'm being very, very leveled in how I'm allowing people in. I'll put it like that.
Yeah, over the weekend, people may or may not have noticed, I changed my profile picture because, like, I don't care if people go after me, whatever. I show my face on screen all the time. I do not care. You're not going to say anything to me that's going to hurt my feelings that I probably haven't heard before. I don't need people attacking my lovely wife who was in my profile picture, and I don't need that at all. And the people who know of her are always very nice to her, but I don't want, that's the easiest bait. It's not even bait. Like, that's the lowest hanging fruit anybody goes after is, oh, let me click your profile picture and repost this and be like, hey, look at you. And you look like this. And it's like, yeah, sure. I don't care what you say about me. Like, I don't need people doing that to my beautiful wife, who just doesn't deserve any of that, just because I like to screw around on Twitter and I attract a bunch of weirdos.
Oh, that's the best part, though. Oh, I should probably bring you back in, Shane. I'm sorry. come back in.
All right, Joel. All right, let's get off of this. Go out and vote, everybody. The election is in a couple of weeks. Everybody go out and vote. Whoever you're voting for, I'm not trying to get political. Whoever you're voting for, just go get out and vote. Okay.
Now, before you start what you're going to do, I should probably say, because I did mention engagement, here's the actual engagement I want. Leave a thumbs up on the video if you haven't already. Get the fireworks going, pyro, ballyhoo, the whole 9 yards. Where you at fireworks? It's Monday, so they're up early like I was, and you can subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked. Go to fightfuloverbooked.com, hit the subscribe button, get the bell, the notifications, the whole 9 yards, and you can donate a super chat. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. You can vote for Kodos like Ryan's doing. You can vote for whoever. Just please vote. I was about to say that. I'm not going to say it. Just vote. Get out there and vote.
Vote for Batista.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just. You know,
you can't vote, Joel. You're Canadian. Are you voting for
right.
Sidney Crosby?
No, I ain't voting for Sidney Kid. I vote for someone else. I'd vote for someone else. I don't think
you should vote for Cale McCarr.
The only time I'm voting for an athlete is in the All-Star selection. I ain't voting any of these athletes into a position of political power ever in my life, ever. Yeah, let's just move on. Listen, people, Batista on Kimmel was great. I will say that. From a performance standpoint, absolutely a wonderful human being is Dave Batista. Let's play a game.
All right, so Joel has no idea what this is. I just messaged him last night. I'm just like, I'm going to play a game, not that one, on tomorrow's show. And he's like, oh, okay. What are we doing? I was like, just wait. So I'm going to reach behind me into the car here. Look at this. Look how cool this kind of looks. As I can like reach into the car with this screen and grab Vin Diesel and just like yank him out of the car.
Please don't yank off Vin Diesel.
So, yeah.
Where are you going?
Yeah, I know. It looks weird, right?
This is very weird. Are you checking the oil? What are you doing?
I hope it shows up. You heard of this game, Joe?
Watch my God.
Your mouth. WWE edition. All right. The wife found this. Brought it home. I was like, I'm going to play this on the show. So you put this little gimmick. You put this gimmick in your mouth and you try to speak.
Yeah, that's like what they do with the dentist when they're cleaning.
Yeah. Look at this thing.
Yeah, I hope those are clean.
Giant. They're washed. We boiled them in water.
They're washed.
Oh boy. Yeah. So I'm gonna put this thing in my mouth. My mouth is gonna be very wide open to make grifter thumbnails if you would like. And I'm gonna say what's on one of these cards. Let's pick a card here. So it's wrestling related, obviously. And it you can tell it's a little bit older. It's got like, Sasha Banks on it still, and it's got not really Sasha's the only person who's not, but it's got like big dog Roman Reigns, not tribal chief Roman Reigns. People can see there as it disappears into the void.
So this is a 2018 game?
It says 2016.
Oh, that's much worse.
Yeah, 2016. So look how many cards, by the way, that there are. Look at all of these. I guess they're kind of
holy crap.
Yeah, that's only 2 decks. There's like another 3 decks or 2 decks this size.
That's with doing that with the thing in your mouth for the entirety of that deck seems very uncomfortable.
Well, you're not supposed to do it like the entire. There's supposed to be like a timer and everything. Like it's a whole thing. So I'm gonna just pick one, and you're gonna have to guess. Okay. Oh boy. All right. Let me pick one that's. So here's how old some of this stuff is. There's one of the.
Oh boy.
All right. So you're gonna have to guess what I'm about to say here, Joel. All right. You ready?
Yeah. Let's see what we do.
Let me put this thing. I don't even know how this thing works. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that doesn't look comfortable.
Hold on. I don't even know how this thing gets in your mouth. Like
carefully. Don't cut yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay. Oh yeah.
Look at your giant teeth.
Yeah, all for the audio listeners, it's basically a big dental dam device.
Yeah.
It's his mouth. Right.
You ready, Joel?
Jesus Christ. Sorry, before we start, somebody take a photo of that, please. Just take a screen.
Hey, giant teeth. Look at
Jesus Christ. This is pro. This better not awaken anything. Oh, Ryan, thank you. I think I'm ready.
I can hear my wife laughing in the other room.
She should be.
All right. You ready, Joel?
Unfortunately.
Leave a thumbs up if you're ready, Joel.
Let's go.
All right. A flare for the gold.
A flare for the gold.
Hey, look at that. There you go. There you go. All right. Ready? I feel like I need to like mix these up a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, get him nice and mixed up.
Okay. Last ride.
Yeah.
I'm not doing too bad, I feel like. No,
you're enunciating.
Yeah, I'm enunciating.
Imagine doing this with like a 10-year-old child.
Yeah.
That would be painful.
I actually a little more difficult. I'm talking like this, and so I'm not enunciating as much.
Sure.
Yeah. Our streak is over.
The streak is over.
Ah, okay. Look at you.
I have a 10 out of 10 when they did my audio exam last.
Oh, okay.
So as long as I put these big things in my ears, I can hear everything. This is setting me up for failure, isn't it?
I should just like speak instead of enunciate.
You should just do the entire show like this today. Don't, Jesus, don't.
Could you imagine? Oh my God.
But
it's a hurt after a while.
Zapito has the best idea.
Oh, what?
We do the dynamite.
Oh, okay.
With this thing.
Yeah, I can do
Put one aside for Wednesday.
Okay. Oh yeah, dig it.
Oh yeah, dig it.
A corporation.
The corporation?
A conglomeration.
It sounded like the conglomeration. I had to snap myself back in time for that one.
Oh, I can do that one. Problematic people, Joel.
Problematic people?
Yeah. I'll put it on screen so people can see it. Yeah.
We ain't doing that one.
Yeah. Oh, great, you hurt your teeth.
You're gritting something.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Oh, and new WWE champion.
Sounds exactly like Michael Cole.
Oh. I'm trying to find like there's a lot of I can write your own phrase. Look at that. You can't really read it, but yes.
You know what? That's what we should get. If we ever got Dr. Britt Baker on this show, We would have to wear this for our interview. Absolutely. That's the plan. So,
Rana!
you know that if you smell is in there.
Oh, the People's Champ is in here.
Of course, the People's Champ is in there.
Yeah, the People's Champ is in here. You just made the list.
Oh, the next Ring of Honor World Champion, Christopher Irvine Jericho.
Can't do that one.
No.
Oh, make your own move. Oh, okay. Hold on.
What's this?
It says choose one superstar and act it out silently.
Then why do you have the thing in your mouth?
Well, I don't even know how to do one of these. Okay. Let's stand up.
You're gonna do the CEO dance.
I disappeared.
I know. I can't even see what you're doing. Are you jumping?
Yeah. I'm causing something, Joel.
Are you causing a riot?
No, causing something.
Are you causing an earthquake?
Earthquake!
What happens if you get tugboat? Do you just go toot toot?
Toot, toot. Let's see if I can do the other two on here. One's pretty easy.
It's the oh my god, the sheep herders.
Yeah, bushwhackers.
Bushwhackers.
The other one, I don't know what I can do.
I know them by their real names. Their hardcore names. Thank you.
I don't know I can do the other one. They're being silent. Because I don't have what I need.
Trying to do Jake the Snake?
No.
These things look like a bag over your head.
It's like a
2x4, and you're gonna go ho.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
this
I
thing
watched
fucking hurts.
Halloween Havoc 1998. Oh, that looks painful.
Oh, that hurts. I'm drooling everywhere.
Tim calling me a nerd. Yeah, kind of. I mean, look at the morning show that I do.
I think it hurts. Let me tell you, if it's in there for too long.
Yeah, no, it looks like that would be painful.
Yeah,
you can't really do a full 2-hour game here.
No, I cannot do that.
The doctors would be very upset about this.
Oh man. All right. Anyway, so that's this game that my wife got this weekend. Dropping cards here.
Ken Bruno drop a super chat saying for Jeremy's mouth numbing medicine. Well, thank you very much for that.
Thanks.
We always appreciate the love.
Man.
Drink mono with that on, says Ryan.
Oh, if I had some, I would. The problem is I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, that wouldn't even, you know how they say, over the lips and through the gums? You would just be dunking that shit right down your throat. You don't know the saying, over the lips and through the gums, look out, whatever, here I come?
Hold on.
Oh, no. Are you putting it back on to do whatever you're about to do?
Yeah. I gotta. I'm popping myself here. No one actually knows what I'm actually about to do. 13 of the 82 kids are home right now. They're injured. They're injured. Okay.
Oh, that's right. I was tipped off to this. Yes.
Yeah, they're injured.
By the way, this is diabolical. You're just trying to do something on that one.
Eat a hot dog with it. Could you imagine?
My goodness. All right. Well, it's going back in.
Okay.
You got this.
Okay.
You can do it.
You know what? I'm going to give myself the full screen here. This is going to be something. Okay, you ready?
You're giving yourself the full screen. Go for it.
All right. I am the master of the clit. Remember this fucking face. Whenever you see clit, you'll see this fucking face. I make that shit work. It does whatever the fuck I tell it to. No one rules a clit like me. Not this little fuck. Not any of you little fucks out there. I am the clit commander. Remember that. Commander of all clits. When it comes down to business, this is what I do. I pinch it like this. Oh, you little fuck. And then I rub my nose in it. I am the clit commander.
Oh. Amazing. I definitely took screen caps during that entire thing.
Cut that. Do what you will with it. I don't care. What are we doing on today's show?
Not much. Don't need anything else. You think RVD is going to run that ECW NXT show?
Oh man. Can I imitate Gilbert Gottfried filming?
That was the day. God, the day when we had those lyrics being read out by Gilbert was the day.
I can sing WAP with that on. I love that song.
Yeah, but Gilbert makes it more fun.
I mean, sure, but like this thing, putting this on and singing WAP, could you imagine? My God.
If you were drooling before, you're drooling now. Amazing.
My what do you call these things? Like I know they're like
your lips.
Yeah, but like I feel like there's a specific name for like the edges of your lips. Am I wrong?
Side of the lips. Let's look.
You know what the most painful thing in the world was that it didn't even happen to me, but like watching it was one of the Jackass films. I think it was Steve-O when he does like the paper cut across the that's so painful. So painful. Bless you. Lip ridge. Is that what we're gonna call it? That's fine.
The vermilion is the whole around part.
Is that what it's called? Maybe I made it up that there's like an actual name for it, but
the oral commissure.
The oral commissure.
Yeah, I guess that's the line in which.
Yeah, the paper cut in front of the fingers. Yeah, that one looked like, but the lip, the paper, just like thinking about it makes it hurt. Steve-O, true sicko. Very true.
True. The original sicko. But yeah, I can't think of anything. The vast difference. Not exactly, Ryan. That's a little lower than you should. The oral commissioner.
Oral commissioner.
Not exactly. Anyway, we don't even know where we should start anymore on this day. Wait a minute. I mean, listen, we got SmackDown. We've got Maple Leaf. We got like 25 seconds for Collision in honor of Orange Cassidy's victory on the show. I know that was a big upset for you. You were not a big upset, but you were upset over that whole thing. NXT is going to be running the ECW arena, which we talked about on Friday as being reported. Now it's official. I watched Halloween Havoc 1998 because it was on the WWE Vault last night, and I had to remember the time WCW Nitro had to show me the final match from that pay-per-view for free because they ran out of satellite time. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
That was the best. That was me. How old was I in 1998? 1998, I was 11 years old.
I was 10.
So I would have been a year older. So I was 11 years old, and we're watching Nitro and Monday Night Raw. It's all the same time, and everyone's excited. It's the Attitude Era, and Nitro's hot, and they're running Goldberg versus Diamond Dallas Page, and then who could lose? It's Goldberg in the streak, and it's Diamond Dallas Page, and he's red hot, and he's the guy. And then they have the pay-per-view, and Bret Hart and Sting are going to have a match for the U.S. Championship, and all this really cool shit's happening at Halloween Havoc 1998. And then we get to the main event, and they're out of time. They ran out of pay-per-view time. They didn't buy enough in the 3 hours they had. And then the next night on Nitro, for free, they had to give us the main event. Hell of a rating.
That's the last time they beat WWE in the ratings.
As one would expect. And who won that world title match between DDP and Goldberg? The fans.
That was a good match.
That was a good match. That was going into that match. That was one of those like all the like the Meltzers and the Kellers and the people who were doing like wrestling commentary at the time were saying, this is a big test for Goldberg because he hasn't really worked an extensive main event style. Like he hasn't done the more than 5-minute match. And then they went 20 and then about 18 in this match. And they got through it. And it wasn't perfect by any means, but for a Goldberg match, it was pretty good for the time. And also DDP rules. So that helps.
The Warrior Hogan match is one of my favorite matches ever. I'm sure that surprises nobody because it's so awful that I love it so much. It's legitimately one of the worst matches ever, but that's right up my alley. I don't care about you. As I've always said, I don't care about your 5-star matches. True. Give me that awful stuff. Give me that minus 5-star stuff. One of the greatest matches of all time, Warrior and Hogan. If you've not seen it, you have to. You have to.
Yeah, go out of your way to watch it. My mute button was acting up, but I'm back. I just got a very funny photo from our pal Ken.
Oh no.
He's got our new and I would call this our new, what do you call it? Thumbnail for today's show. That's the one.
Jeez.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Ken.
That is our new thumbnail for today's show. We're gonna easily make 7,000 on this one.
That sounds terrible. Oh, I mean, go for it. Look, I put myself in this position for a reason. Like, whatever. just amazing. This friggin' gimmick with this friggin' mouth thing. Good job, Ken. We appreciate you.
They should have sent a whole, because oh man, this was 2017 when this thing came out. Imagine if they had sent an entire like free package to everyone who ever went to the Thunderdome during the pandemic and had them wear it. That's what I want in my life. Just an entire Thunderdome full of that face. Make some noise, guys. Thumbs up for Asuka.
Hurts,
2 hours of that.
Absolutely hurts. WCW 1998, the best time to be a wrestling fan. Not really, but
it was one of the better times when we were kids.
98 was okay. Yeah.
Everything was better. 99 was the year he really wanted to be there, let me tell you.
Oh, that's why I put that stuff on all the time. I'm like trying to fall asleep. It's so awful that like I'm all for it. Again, I love the awfulness. I want all the awfulness. Don't give me this good wrestling. All right, Ken Bruno just sent it to me. I'm gonna tweet it out now. So
Can you retweet it along with that Batista and Undertaker graphic? Just quote tweet it with that.
Just quote tweet with this.
It has absolutely nothing to do with the other, but you will make an entirely new sect of fandom upset. And I think that is what we're here for.
Fine.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah. Why?
No, you can do that, or you could just start anew.
Nice. I don't just see what they have to. They don't have anything to do with anything. But I guess.
But you'll get every bad faith upset human being coming after you from different places.
All right, fine. Quote tweet, add photo. All right, there you go. I just tweeted it. Do what you will with it. Whatever.
Wonderful. Thanks again, Ken.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you.
So stupid. It's so perfect. Stupid. And so I'm going to hit repost because I have to. It's good stuff. Ryan saying he watched WCW Sin last week. I will remind everyone that one of my favorite matches of all time is from WCW Greed, and I make reference to it often, and it's Jason Jett versus Kiwi, because that was an opening contest where like nobody expected it to be as good as it was, and it was really friggin' good. So I highly recommend people go and watch that. The last WCW pay-per-view. Doesn't matter what happened in the main event, because I can't remember. I think Scott Steiner was involved some way, because of course he was. But like Jason Jett and Kiwi, that was the match you wanted.
You do reference this match a lot. This is your Doomsday cage match. Because that's one I always reference, the Alliance Stand Hulkamania. Like this is your Doomsday Cage match of like you would never think it's some obscure match that like no one talks about, but Joel's like Jason Jet and Kiwi. Did you hear about this one?
Hey man, only Kiwi could then have the balls to go and face off against a man under a bridge 15 years later.
I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So anyway, WCW Halloween Havoc 98. They streamed it live on the WWE Vault YouTube. It's still there if you want to watch it. But I had to go check. I had to see if they did anything different from the network when they came to the theme songs. They didn't change a thing. Everything that they did for the network was on this particular version as well. Of course, I thought maybe we'd get lucky, maybe, but no. They had the Ravens theme was not the Even Flow rip, or not Even Flow. It's Come As You Are. It's not the Come As You Are ripoff. They did the Raven WWE theme, and then Jericho, of course, they used Break the Walls Down instead of his Even Flow ripoff theme, which is, well, that's all I wanted. Couldn't get it though. Had to listen to the new overdub theme.
Get demonetized on YouTube. Can't have that.
They own the footage.
Can't have that.
It upsets me so much. They had a lot of people watching at one point, and like whoever runs that channel was actually interacting with the chat. They had a moderator in there.
They do a good job with that from everything I've seen. One, they upload like actual hidden gems, which is nice. But yeah, the live streams on Sundays that they do is pretty cool.
It's so easy too. Like it's just a silly little like Sunday thing to do. You just sit and watch. It's if you have two screens, you just listen to that. Yeah, the DDP dub is awful. Ryan, I think you and I talked about the Ernest the Cat Miller one. I posted that one to my socials. It's so bad. You should go and listen to that if you can find it. It's really bad. Yeah, that was my Sunday evening. That and catching up on Collision because I just did not watch it on Saturday. I was not in the mood to watch wrestling on Saturday. Other than
Collision was a good show. I liked how it bled into Battle of the Belts as well. The Moxley stuff continues to be super intriguing and well done. I hope it continues on Collision because that's one thing that we talked about on Friday of like you got to keep this going on Collision. It can't just live on Wednesdays. So I'm glad they showed up for at least this one, and hopefully that continues. You know, Daniel Garcia and Private Party getting a nice win. I thought Collision felt like a consequential show for the first time in really forever. Because for the longest time, that show is just, hey, here's some matches for the sake of doing some matches. And maybe you get a story or two. Maybe something matters on the show. But otherwise, it's just matches. This episode of Collision and even Battle of the Belts, I know it's probably like the end of Battle of the Belts and there was only one belt technically on the line. To start with, they ended up doing the trios match and so there ended up being two belts on the line. But even Battle of the Belts, again, it felt like a consequential show, especially with Anna Jay winning at the end there. So I thought AEW had a good night on Saturday.
Did they count the trios match as part of Battle of the Belts?
Yeah, it happened on Battle of the Belts. Why wouldn't it be counted on Battle of the Belts?
The trios, the Action Andretti Top Flight match?
No, the Dark Order against Claudio, Wheeler Yuta, and Pac.
Oh, buddy, I do not remember that one. I see it now.
What? It literally kicked off the show, Joel. Yeah. Did you not watch Battle of the Belts?
Harley Cameron was really good that night. I really liked what Harley Cameron
does rule.
Actually, the segment where she doesn't even confront, she just butts in on Thunder Rosa's promo. I thought that was very funny. Yeah. Thunder Rosa just knocks her down. And she's just like, "It's not the last you've heard from me." Like, you overacting woman is perfect. No, I didn't watch Battle of the Belts. I had read I had read the spoilers. I knew what was going on. Nothing was really going to get me to stick around for that.
The Claudio, the Moxley stuff wasn't like listed in the spoilers, which was so that's why I was kind of a surprise the way it started off with that. So yeah, Collision closed with Moxley and Claudio and Pac and Yuta and Marina beating up all the dorks after they beat Top Flight and Action and Ready. And then Dark Order came out, and then they got beat up too. But then Mox is like, hey, you want to make a name for yourself so bad? All right, let's do another trios titles match right here. And then so they beat the Dark Order. Like, fine. And then they continued to beat him up after the match until Daniel Garcia and Private Party made the save. But again, that was a cool way to blend the show into each other, to lead into the show. And they technically got 2 trios title defenses in the span of like 20 minutes, which is something. So yeah, again, I thought it was a good night overall for AEW, and stuff felt important. I thought it was a strong 3 hours.
Yeah, I largely enjoyed what I watched on Collision. I watched all of Collision. I just didn't watch Battle of the Boards because I just honestly I couldn't be bothered. Fletcher in Atlantis was good. I thought Fletcher coming out and being, that piece of garbage human being who rips at the mask of the luchador, who's very popular, was good stuff. And yeah, just Orange Cassidy got a big win in no time and just did not care. The Iron Savages rule. Jack Jameson, former guest of the show, he rules.
I'm gonna get Jameson this match against Orange Cassidy. It's not gonna last long, but
that's fine. Doesn't need to
make it happen.
I have a really important question to ask you.
No, that sounds terrible.
What farm in the middle of nowhere does Jake the Snake live on that they can't fly him out for another television show now that he has been gifted LFI, who were on this show and who won a tag team match against arguably the most popular fan favorite AEW tag team, the Outrunners? Where's Jake the Snake? Is he lost in the bunker somewhere?
I didn't think Jake the Snake was gonna be.
Well, I don't think you're gonna see Jake the Snake until the pay-per-view if you're lucky.
Yeah, I didn't think he was gonna be. They did a video package on him, and I like the little backstage segment where Beast Mortos was trying to like unmask Hologram. I did think it was weird to, at least they referenced it, but I did think it was like weird to do like that segment and like immediately the next segment was the Undisputed Kingdom talking to Beast Mortos. So it's like you couldn't do that a little, space that out a little bit more. At least Undisputed Kingdom like referenced that, hey, why are you attacking Hologram? So at least they didn't completely ignore it. But it was a little strange of like, why are we jumping basically from this segment to this segment with Undisputed Kingdom? The Undisputed Kingdom segment was just kind of strange as it was, because that group is fascinating.
Just in terms of the timing, I think that's how they saw it, was like it's all in the same quarter-hour bracket, so everything gets fit in together and kind of lumped in. And yeah, it does make for an awkward kind of beat. It's not even a storytelling beat; it's just a beat. But yeah, they're in a strange position right now because their former leader just came back and he's a babyface, and he made reference to Undisputed Kingdom in his promo on Wednesday. So you have to assume, as they're like half turning them babyface as well. It started with the Roderick Strong shaking of Hook's hand, and they've been tweening, kind of moving their way into a babyface territory, but they're not there yet. You got to wait until like the big Undisputed Kingdom hug with Adam Cole, when they all do the Bay together and everyone's like, Undisputed Kingdom Bay, and then we're off to the races.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Undisputed Bay, and then Beast Mortos just beats the shit out of the entire team. Solo. No Roosh, no Dralistico. It's just Beast Mortos and Jake the Snake. Leading to Jake the Snake versus Adam Cole at Full Gear. Right?
I don't think we're getting that match.
Damn it. I hate this promotion because they don't give me what I want.
Is that what you want? Do you really want Adam Cole against Jake the Snake? That sounds terrible.
Does it though?
Jake the Snake.
Who's ready for story time with Adam Cole Bay versus the guy who speaks really, really brusque into the camera, just like this?
That sounds good.
The promo waffs will be really good. I'll tell you a story about a baby bird. Shout out to Beyond the Mat, my favorite.
Is that Jake the Snake? I feel like it's quite Jake the Snake.
Me doing that voice, or just Jake the Snake talking about a baby bird? Because that's from Resurrection of Jake the Snake, where he's like, I'm like a little baby bird, all broken inside, looking for the nest.
I can't tell who that is. It's not Jake the Snake.
It's Jake the Snake.
No, it's not.
Well, that's broken Jake the Snake. Not like broken, not broken, but like that's Jake the Snake.
Do Jake the Snake go and delete?
I'm thinking about Jake the Snake having the poofed out hair, just like Matt Hardy. And that's what's getting me. Delete. His Stone Cold was strapped up. That's Jake the Snake.
You know who it's too much laryngitis. It's too much laryngitis.
Oh no, we don't talk about that.
I know.
No, he's not that great. Come on.
Yeah, that's who it sounded like.
No, it's Jake the Snake. Come on. It's Jake the Snake. It's Jake with a sore throat.
Nah. Oh, great. Sean has retweeted the AEW paying Marks a smile during shows.
just wait until he sends you the tweet and says LOL.
I didn't make this graphic. I just am an idiot on this show putting a dental dam in my mouth.
Oh, God, dude. Yeah, that's great. Oh,
he's gonna send it to me. Like, what are you doing? What is happening?
So funny. I'm just looking. Someone actually posted the cut from that WCW pay-per-view they aired, where they did the bars, and then went to the main event. That was very funny. I'm just glad that other people saw and noticed it and put it out there. Oh, maybe that'll bring Sean onto our show this morning. He's been away from us because we have
better things to do.
What are you talking about? It's Monday. What is there really?
Nobody should want to listen. What are we doing?
That's true. Eventually, we're gonna have to bring guests back onto the show. Eventually, not today though.
Maybe Wednesday.
We'll see. I mean, I have someone that might be joining us on Wednesday. We'll see. Really? What else happened? Yeah, I talked about it. Someone from Love Pro.
Oh, well, we also have another guest on Wednesday.
Oh, I think the Love Pro guy was supposed to be today.
Yeah,
and then that didn't happen.
I thought it was today. Yeah,
but we'll get them on soon. We love our Love Pro Wrestling folks. What else happened on the show that's worth talking about from Collision? Ricochet, AR Fox. A lot of people really enjoyed that match, which is to be expected. They did all the moves. Ricochet looked good. AR Fox is AR Fox, never not good. And then Ricochet cut a promo and said, "I'm coming after Takeshita." What he meant was, "I will see you on Sunday night, Takeshita," because then he showed up at Maple Leaf Pro, made the drive from Stockton to Toronto. How long is that drive? Long enough that he made it.
I feel like
I'm in Toronto. It's Windsor. My mistake.
I feel like he probably flew.
Like himself flew? Like flew his wings because he can fly? Or did he fly commercial? Like, what are we doing here?
I feel like he flew.
Did he grow wings himself? Red Bull style? What are we doing?
No, I mean, he's Ricochet, so maybe he just like bounced.
Sonic style.
Yeah.
Think he has rings?
No.
He should win the Revolution, the face of the Revolution.
Oh, he
Sonic ring this year.
Great, actually. He should do a Sonic cosplay. Has Ricochet done a Sonic cosplay?
I feel like he is just Sonic personified. He hasn't put the hair on because he bald, but like he could do it.
Yeah.
He could do it. But then he showed up. Takeshita had a banger of a weekend over at Maple Leaf Pro. They did their first two shows, Saturday and Sunday. I got to catch all of night one. I enjoyed a lot of what the rest of the world enjoyed, and I enjoyed what the rest of the world didn't enjoy, and that was the tables match that we knew was going to be.
That match was great.
Just the best ever. If you haven't seen it,
that was exactly what I was hoping it to be. It lived up to my full expectations.
And it turned into a match on night two, which is what you do. And they did the one thing that everyone expected. Use the owner's mother. Because if there's one thing that you can expect Scott D'Amore to do in Windsor, it's use mom.
Darren McCarty was also there. Shout out to Red Wings legend and former guest of the show. Bitter enemy turned into a decent friend, Darren McCarty.
Also, another reason that she knows that Scott D'Amore is promoting the show is when Darren McCarty shows up.
I'm very curious into what Maple Leaf becomes, because it was a strong 2 nights. The wrestling was very good because you had good wrestlers, but your good wrestlers are also signed elsewhere. And it is like, what becomes of this company? Are they just, I know D'Amore in the interview that he did with Sean, which is really good. It's like 40 minutes long, but he talks about it being like a showcase for different talents and everything. And I thought they accomplished that with this show. And, you know, if you didn't know certain people like Classy Ali, maybe you discovered him on this show because you wanted to see Takeshita against Speedball, Takeshita against Josh Alexander. So maybe you discovered some new talent through that. And I think that's probably going to be the ultimate goal. And again, Dimore has said this of he wants to try to showcase more Canadian talent, because who has been on our show? Maybe they've been on our show. It was Andrew Shane Hawk talking about how it's very tough for Canadian talent to really just break through, because it's tougher to get into the States. There's not as many eyeballs on them. Is his line of like the US indies are just the indies on easy mode because everyone sees that stuff, where the indies in Canada, not quite as there's not quite the exposure that's there. Maple Leafs is a big platform. It's got D'Amore's backing, and people obviously know Scott D'Amore, and it's got talent from TNA. It's got talent from AEW working in the main event. So hopefully these wrestlers get get the extra exposure and are able to parlay that into more opportunities, whether they be in Canada or the United States.
They're in a border town, or at least they were last night, for Windsor. If they're going to be a Canadian touring indie, then hopefully they use a lot of the Canadian independent talent that a lot of us know. A lot of us know El Reverso. Maybe you've seen El Reverso on TNA a couple of times. Maybe you've seen Brett Banks on the indies. Sheldon Jean's someone that I've spoken very highly of in the past. He's from Ottawa, Canada, my hometown. Psycho Mike's another dude that people know from Canada. He's a great big jack dude who does comedy wrestling exceptionally well. You can see him on Mystery Wrestling almost every week. Hell, I did the interview with Evil Uno where he put over Psycho Mike being like the perfect wrestler, especially when he's like dialed in and in that zone. And then Bhupinder Gujar, another one someone knows from TNA. You've seen him. Now you get to see him on another stage. There's a lot of really, really excellent talent. Taylor Rising's another one. Some people may have seen her through NWA if you watch NWA, but you've seen her other places in the Canadian industry. There's a lot of really good talent coming in, and I hope that if this is going to be a space where they elevate those talent, then you almost have to bring in the Athenas and the Jake something is Jake something, but like the Speedballs, who is also Canadian, or the Konosuke Takeshitas, or those big level talent. You almost have to bring them in because it elevates those mostly unknown Canadian talent further. And if that's the way that MLP has to operate for at least the first year, I'm not against it. I think Ken was talking in the chat about it could be a fun I would say a quarterly supercard promotion. Do it 4 times a year. Don't overblow it. Just have 2 nights, 4 times a year of really solid wrestling with really solid talent, and let people kind of get to it themselves.
Yeah, I wouldn't overexpose it. Like, I don't think it's going to be like a national television company or anything. And there's so many indies that already run. And GCW runs every week at this point. And I would like to see Maple Leaf like become, for some of these talents, maybe lead into some GCW stuff for them. Again, for some of the Canadian talents who don't work on the US scene as much. Hopefully they can get that exposure and get more dates in the US scene, because people are just going to see you more on the US scene. I wouldn't run every other weekend or anything. I'm not even sure if that's like feasible either, because you're not going to get TNA talent every other weekend. You're not going to get AEW talent every other weekend. It's not going to happen. Like if you only do it quarterly, then you got a much better chance at getting these talent onto your shows.
Well, here's a pretty good example. You've got Love Pro, who are out in the Edmonton area. They run once a month. They run at the end of every month, and that's a special. They've also built up a lot of their own kind of local homegrown talent, and then they'll bring in a couple of known indie stars, right? They'll bring in Blake Christian on their next show. They brought in Alley Catch, and they brought in Effie, and they've brought in a lot of like the GCW known stars. They've brought in Kylie Ray. There have been those people that wrestling fans know as an extra draw, but they also have the homegrown stable, so they can run once a month. That being said, Greektown, where I used to frequent, they run every other month. They've extended now that they run outside of Toronto. They'll run Hamilton, London, and they ran Waterloo once, but I don't know if they're still doing that. Regardless, they'll do every other month, but they'll bring in a big star every other month. So the next show is this Friday. Oh my God. They're bringing in Sabu, and they're bringing in Effie, and I feel like they're bringing in one more person that I'm trying to remember. But usually when they bring in someone like Sabu, they're not bringing in Sabu to wrestle. They're doing an autograph, a meet and greet, and then maybe Sabu will cut a promo and be part of something with somebody on the roster. But that's how they run. They run every other month locally, and then everything else is outside of Toronto. I would expect the same out of Maple Leaf Pro. I know they probably want to be bigger and better than most of the indies here, and I get that. But like you said, Jeremy, there's only so many independent international talent that you can bring in if they're already working a TNA or even an AEW or MLW, wherever they're known from. You can only do that so often.
Because stars aligned for them with this past weekend. AEW didn't have a Collision show. It was taped. It was taped on Thursday. So that freed up a little bit of talent. TNA, like typically they tape on weekends. They do their Friday shows and then they tape on weekends. So talent's not always going to be available there. They taped previously because they of the hurricane, and then they moved to Skyway Studios for like Wednesday and Thursday tapings. I think it was. WWE runs shows, and I'm not saying look, they're not going to use WWE talent. I don't suspect that anyway. But D'Amore was the bridge between WWE and Jordan Grace to start the year. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that a WWE talent ends up on the show in some capacity. I don't suspect it'll happen, but I don't want to completely dismiss it or anything. And WWE, even if let's not even say like WWE's running a show, it's WWE's just running like for talent usage. It's WWE running a show, a pay-per-view. That it just cuts into your audience regardless. There was no WWE show this week. So you had no AEW live show. You had no Impact tapings or live show. You had no WWE live show. Like, how many weekends do you really get where this happens? Because most of the time, AEW is going to be running a live show, whether it's Collision or pay-per-view. A lot of times, twice or once every other month or once every 3 weeks, TNA has tapings. And then WWE's running a show, whether it's NXT or a main roster show. They're running a show every 3 weeks or so. So it really was kind of a perfect storm of, hey, there's no kind of first run wrestling from the major promotions. So we're able to get talent from all of these shows.
I know that Scott was asked about one of the major hurdles in doing Maple Leaf Pro. And I think one of his answers was the biggest hiccup. And this is from Cultaholic. He spoke to Tom Campbell. And part of it was the trepidation from TNA, because Bound for Glory is this coming Saturday. So he was asking for TNA talent, major TNA talent, by the way. We're talking Speedball Mike Bailey, who is the X Division champion, about to have a championship match against Vikingo, doing a main event match on the former president's show, right? On Scott D'Amore's comeback show. And they were like, well, we're going to be in Detroit for Bound for Glory. Windsor is going to be the landing point for Maple Leaf Pro a week earlier. It was kind of like, give me a little something here. And apparently, obviously, everything worked out because Speedball worked both shows. But there was a bit of a hiccup, a bit of trepidation from TNA to work with Scott at least on that part of things. I found it interesting that Speedball didn't bring his TNA X Division championship. I almost said knockouts for some reason. Just congratulations. But Speedball didn't bring out the X Division championship. I found that interesting. I don't think that's a slight at anyone. I just think that maybe they wanted to put the emphasis on the AEW International Championship instead when it came to night one in the main event with Takeshita. But yeah, other than that, it was, again, fun show, easy to watch. Go watch both nights. I really enjoyed the 4-way tag team IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match, because Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match, there's a lot of letters there, because whenever you see Johnny Swinger in a match, you know who's getting pinned.
You're also going to run into hurdles when it comes to using that talent and just potential of using it, booking dates and things like that, maybe companies are hesitant if they're obviously everyone's worried about injury risk and working independent shows and like, oh, you might get injured, but you're going to run into hurdles of at some point TNA like, yeah, I don't know about our talent losing to like AEW talent on these shows. Like for the first show, like fine, Speedball losing, Josh Alexander losing, but at some point you would think TNA, since they don't have a working relationship anymore with AEW and the working relationship is now more with WWE, probably not gonna be like, yeah, we want Josh Alexander, who's been a main event player for us. We want Speedball, who is our X Division champion. We don't really want them losing to AEW talent on these shows. Like this is the issue when you're booking talent who are signed to other companies, is those companies at some point are probably going to be like, hey, we don't want our guys or girls losing to the talent on these shows. I mean, I think there's obviously you're going to put Takeshita over, you're going to put Athena over, but these two are signed to another company, and those are who kind of your biggest stars on the show were, which is fine. Like it gets people in the door, it gets people watching, and then you hopefully showcase other talent. But if they're facing people from other companies like TNA, there's gonna probably at some point be like, you know what? We're not okay with this. Why don't our guys win?
I mean, listen, when it comes to Speedball, I don't think they really.
Sure. I mean, Speedball goes on the independent scene and might lose matches anyway, but I think there's no like super hard feelings with D'Amore and TNA. D'Amore said kind of as much, but at the same time, if you're TNA and you're seeing the former president use your kind of top talent and they're losing on these shows, I think there are some feelings of, yeah, we don't fully like this.
I get it. I don't think TNA has much leverage when it comes to a lot of this stuff. If they were asking the TNA World Champion to come in and drop the match and lose the title, I feel like it's a different understanding. My bigger concern is that TNA didn't say, or maybe I don't know the contracts. I don't know what the verbiage is, but you're 7 days from a pay-per-view for TNA, you can't compete in those 7 days because we want you healthy for your match. That's more surprising to me that they didn't pull we need you for this. We need to guarantee that you're going to make it to the biggest show of the year. That includes Josh Alexander, who is on the Bound for Glory card. He has a match against Steve Macklin, and that is a major story match. And then we mentioned Speedball already going up against Vikingo. That is a major match for that company. That is getting people through the doors and through the gates for that particular show. I'm surprised that TNA hasn't been like, we shouldn't be allowing this. There should be a window in which our talent can perform coming up to a pay-per-view. And that's, again, one of the benefits to TNA is that you only work 2 to 3 times a month for them. The rest of your schedule is open. They should be blocking out a few days where you should have it, don't work these particular events or some sort of expectation. But then again, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking to myself, if you block off 7 days on either side or 7 days before, then you're taking an entire work week away from these people. And if they're not already doing something, Speedball might stream. Josh Alexander doesn't stream, right? You got to figure out
Josh Alexander doesn't work like a ton of indies. He works a handful, but he doesn't work like a ton of indies. Speedball works every single day of the week if he could.
True. He's wild. The man is insatiable when it comes to wrestling. I love him. Very fun conversation too. Everything that you think you know about Speedball is pretty much out on the table. He's a very, very open guy, and I appreciate that. Bully Ray Rajtaji, let's talk about the tables match real quick. We made reference to the tag match the next night, but yeah, I'm looking at cage match because this is someone had pointed this out to me. The dichotomy of wrestling fans. The cage match ratings on 27 votes. Did you see this already?
I saw it was very low, and I think that cage match should be chastised and banned for the way they have done this.
Should be flipped is what it should be. 0.93 is the rating on 27 votes. So not a lot of votes, but anyway, that's what it is for Bully. Whereas the Takeshita and Speedball match is at 45 votes and has a 9.46. I feel like you should be flip-flopping that. It should be the other way around. Bury Takeshita and Speedball. All they did all the favorites. They did all the flipping and flopping. Who cares about that? The tables match where they had like 4 moves. That's the match that should have been the main event. It was so bad. Oh, and I'm sure that, the gentleman will tell you that it was all part of wrestling, and I'm sure Bully's going to defend it to the end, but it was not a very good match.
I thought it was great. I don't care what anybody says.
My favorite part is when they had the camera on Scott's mom. That was it right there. I don't know what else to say about that particular match. They put one man through a table and then split him around. Did a do-si-do.
It was a creative finish. What are you talking about, Joel? It was a super creative finish.
You think 2024, everyone's out here waiting to see QT Marshall team up with Bully Ray?
Yes.
They are. Okay.
Got Harley Cameron involved too.
That's true. People did like that, especially night 2 when she got to go right into Bully's ball sack.
Yeah, that's, a little unfortunate.
It's the cost of doing business, is it?
Yeah.
But man, Mox was right. It's the cost of doing business. And then you have Bhupinder Gujar again working with Raj Deji. I'm of 2 mindsets. One, I'm like, it's great that Gujar's working with someone like Raj who has a long storied history with wrestling, especially in WWE. But then there's also the part of me that's like, are you just teaming them up because they're the Indian guys? Is that all we're doing? I hope it's not the case. But I definitely had a moment where I'm like, are you trying to do something that's nothing more than just the 2 Indian dudes on the same card together? What are we doing here? But otherwise, I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the matches. It was fun. It was a fun night of professional styles of wrestling. Where do they go from here? I have no idea.
Yeah, Dia Moore talked about wanting to run Maple Leaf Gardens at some point in the future. And we'll see if that comes to fruition or not.
Anatomy Athletics Center on Ryerson University campus, back where I went to school. Me and John Pollock are going to be there. I almost called him Tom Pollock because I'm reading another thing as I speak.
Tom Pollock.
Tom Pollock was I don't know who Tom Pollock was. Let's look him up while you're talking.
Who was Tom Pollock?
Tom Pollock was the chairperson for the American Film Institute.
Okay.
He's been dead since 2020.
Okay. I don't think he's going to be at the show.
Well, if I have my way, I could get him there. Yeah, Tom Campbell and John Pollock. No, but they're different. Tom Pollock. Tom is John's WWE name. I'm sure that'll get me in his good graces and I tell him that joke. Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, I'm sure they'll make their way to Maple Leaf Garden. That particular venue is about 5,000 seats. It's a big venue, but it's a strange one. That was the ROH ran the 2019 summer card there. The one that had like 200 people there because it was SummerSlam weekend. But yeah, they can run it. They just can't really do pyro there if they planned on it.
Nah, pyro's overrated.
Pyro is what gets people through the doors.
Nah.
So I've been told. Anyway, what else do we have to talk about? Motor City Machine Guns made their debut. Speaking of
in a backstage segment.
In a backstage segment. This was good. Listen, how did you feel when you saw the Motor City Machine Guns made their debut unofficially in a WWE digital exclusive?
I felt like, I was trying to make dinner. Now I got to go write an article. That's how I felt.
All right. I get it.
I was like, wait a second. It didn't matter too much to me because they already said they were going to debut. It's not like this was going to be some big surprise of like, we're going to bring them out in front of the crowd and, who are Los Garza's going to face? Look, it's Motor City Machine Guns. They already aired the teaser for them. They already aired the teaser of Motor City Machine Guns next week. So we knew they were going to debut on the show. So the fact that they just did a little digital exclusive thing didn't mean too much to me. And it set up instead of the singles tag team match, it set up the triple threat tag team match. So like, it was fine. I didn't think too much of it. This is what it is to me.
Boner City.
And their theme, like, it's gonna take a little while to get used to.
I'm sure tweaks will be coming along the way.
Yeah, hopefully.
Listen, I don't know what you would have expected from this. And not you, I mean fans. The fans who listen to this show were going to cheer. The fans who go to WWE shows or AEW shows who are not in the bubble, they barely know these guys, and that's okay. That's totally fine. They're going to run down their resume. I know Corey Graves did, and he's kind of the voice of the independent fan, whatever you want to call him. And that'll get them over with certain people. And then you'll get the video packages, you'll get the whatever. Like I think it's fine. I think you can always do more to get people to understand, especially when you have access to TNA footage if you request it from the company that you have a talent exchange with right now. I'm sure they'd give it to them, especially for these guys, because every single TNA talent that I saw on Friday night were posting very complimentary things about Sabin and Shelley. So there's no reason for me to think the front office wouldn't, feel the same way publicly. So you can do any type of video to put them over. I think when Corey Graves said, your favorite tag team wrestler's favorite tag team is incredibly apt and it's incredibly on point. And that's the way that they should continue to promote these guys as they come in, that they are trendsetters and they are the reason for a tag team influence in the last 20 years. So it didn't bug me that they did it this way, because the most people in that audience, they wouldn't know who the hell they were. And that's okay. So you bring them in early, you make them feel like a big deal, and then you let them go out and show you why they should be a big deal. Rat-a-tat-tat, baby.
Yeah, they did the vignettes for the couple weeks leading up to it. Really only one kind of told you it was Motor City Machine Guns. I thought they could have played a little bit more into the vignettes leading up to the actual debut, like the video. And they put a really good video package on socials that I think should have been on the show or in some capacity, because I think that would have gone a long way. The biggest thing, though, is I think we got to be honest about sort of Motor City Machine Guns popularity kind of to the masses. It's not that big. Obviously, us in the bubble, like, we know how great Motor City Machine Guns are. We know how influential they are. And I think Corey Graves, like you mentioned, did a good job of trying to explain that to everybody. But this is not like an AJ Styles. When AJ Styles debuted, a lot of people knew who AJ Styles was. One, they debuted him on a big WWE pay-per-view. This was not a Smackdown in South Carolina. But AJ Styles was like big in New Japan. He was the top guy in TNA for the longest time. Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, one of the most decorated tag teams of in independent wrestling history. Certainly, long time in TNA, but a lot of times in TNA, like when TNA was at their biggest, they were just kind of guys in the division. And this, of course, was a decade ago when TNA was at their biggest, maybe even longer than that. But they were just kind of tag team division guys. Like, yeah, they made it to the top of TNA. Alex Shelley was the world champion in TNA a year ago, but where was TNA a year ago? Like, they weren't exactly the hottest promotion in the world. They don't have a whole lot of like national television exposure, certainly in the last 5 years or so. Again, AJ Styles was coming off, he was on Spike TV with TNA. He was the guy in New Japan. Like, a big difference between that and Motor City, who they've been wrestling on like Access TV and Independence for the last 5 years. They did the one spot in AEW, but that was a throwaway thing on a pay-per-view that honestly didn't make a whole lot of sense based on what the story they were telling with those teams. Their popularity for us is big. We again know the importance of them. But if you look at it from an outside perspective, there's not a whole lot of like traction with them compared to other people. I think they did well to at least tell you, hey, they're coming. Hey, it's kind of like a new team debuting, new team in the WWE universe debuting and everything. But I think the reaction would have honestly been worse if they just like debuted them just kind of cold. And it's like, hey, here's Motor City. And I feel like a lot of people, especially for that audience, you do this in like Philly, you do this in Chicago.
You do it in Nashville at Skyway Studios where you tape.
like there's obviously like markets where this works. Columbia, South Carolina, in a market where you're going to get like this major reaction for them.
There's a part of me that wonders if this team does not a split, like I don't know, not like a hard split, but like you mentioned, Shelley's a former TNA champion, most recently, but Sabin and Shelley are both decorated singles champions in their own right. I wonder if at one point they do give them the opportunity to go and work solo and go and work singles matches. I think they were signed to be a tag team, but it would be really nice to see them kind of branch out and at least show the audience that they are, multi-pronged wrestlers. They're good at doing the single stuff, and they're not to be just lumped in as a tag team. I also really enjoyed when they did the Nick Aldis backstager earlier in the day, and Aldis says, "I've had one of my, what was it? What did he say? One of my changes of heart." Yeah, and that's a Mr. Burns line from The Simpsons.
Yeah, I saw you reference that.
It was very much a Simpsons reference from the Pin Pals episode. Said, oh, right, sorry, there was something else that I found. I've had one of my trademark changes of heart, is what he said. And I was like, I know that line. That's a Mr. Burns line. And I had a good chuckle over that. But other than that, it's good. Good first night for Motor City Machine Guns. They're going to go on and have a match against DIY next week. And I'm sure that's going to be a lot of fun. See if the Street Profits kind of weasel their way into this thing. But for now, good start for Motor City.
I think they'll do singles matches at some point, and they're going to get over just based on their work. And then it just comes down to, all right, how much equity is going to be put into the tag team division. And then like the DIY match, if they get the time, by the end of that, the crowd's going to be going crazy for that match. Like there's very few worlds where that's a bad match.
And they've never done this match either. Gargano and Sabin and Shelley have experience, but Ciampa's never been a part of this whole thing. So it's going to be really interesting to watch those two teams tear it up. And then all the other matches that are a possibility, people make fun of Los Garzas, but like those two guys going up against Los Garzas could have a hell of a team match, a hell of a tag team match. Same thing with with Street Profits. There are a lot of tag teams out there. Even Gorillas of Destiny and Motor City Machine Guns could be a fun one.
Oh, that could be the match if Motor City wins next week or this Friday.
That'll be the go.
Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin don't want the Tama smoke and the Tonga Loa smoke. Nah,
maybe they do. But who knows? I don't know if they're going to be the ones to beat Gorillas of Destiny per se. I'm not there yet. There's still a lot of bloodline storytelling to get through. The tag team titles have never been very important to the story, but they've always been part of the story. That whoever wins those tag titles is loosely affiliated with the bloodline story. They did it with DIY. I don't think they're going to do it with Motor City Machine Guns. I just don't think so.
It's going to be interesting to see how they book this because DIY winning makes sense and going after the bloodline again makes sense. But it doesn't feel like the bloodline are losing these titles. On the other hand, they could lose the titles because it's not like these tag team titles are super important to bloodline, So I could see Motor City potentially beating DIY, and then you do them against bloodline, and you get Jimmy or Jey costing bloodline in that match, and Motor City win the titles. I feel like unless Motor City just win clean outright, win the titles, people aren't going to be happy with the finish regardless, because it's either Motor City losing to DIY or bloodline, or it's them needing help against bloodline to win. So unless they outright win clean, which I don't think is going to happen, people are just not going to be thrilled with however this goes.
And Motor City Machine Guns have a bit of an exchange or a bit of a history with Gorillas of Destiny. They've never had a 2-on-2 match, but they've been involved with Ring of Honor for 8-man tags that have included Motor City Machine Guns on one side, and then when they were still with Bullet Club, Gorillas of Destiny on the other. So there's a possibility that to get those teams in, tell a little bit of story, a little bit of history, but at the end of the day, they're still new. I don't think you're going to be giving them those tag titles right off the bat, but there's an argument to be made that if you want to kickstart a tag team division and put something behind it, you give it to a team like Motor City Machine Guns because they cannot have a bad match, or at least it's a challenge for them to have a bad match. And then you let Guerrillas of Destiny go on and do whatever they're supposed to do, but also them with the tag titles kind of gives them a little bit more.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see what they do on Friday night with that DIY and Motor City Machine Guns tag team match. Elsewhere on the show, since we're talking about Bloodline, Roman Reigns came back, showed up, talking about Travis Scott because he's a big Travis Scott guy.
Roman Reigns just like being normal. I'm like, yeah, you like that Travis Scott music? It's like, what? Huh? This felt unnecessary. But
it's just, sure. It was like he was trying to flex, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it hasn't come out yet. And I was like, we don't know what it is. I didn't hear it either. You got Jimmy trying to be like, whoa, that's so cool. You got music early. Like, yeah.
Roman should have been like, Napster, brother.
I used to.
You heard a bear share?
It's like when we used to get screeners for Impact. This isn't that fun. Anyway, just had a good laugh about that. Jey Uso also showed up at the top of SmackDown, and then of course in the middle of when we talk about that segment as well. But Jey Uso is doing pretty good for himself. People were really behind him in that opening segment with Solo Sikoa, and the big tease was Jey Uso threatening Jacob Fatu. People were all about that interaction when Jey said he would smack taste out of his mouth. Jay's here to yeet the taste out of his mouth. This was good. I liked it.
This man, they should put all the titles on Jey Uso. I don't get any of he's so good. He's so over. People like might not fully love his promos and everything, but when he locks in, he's a great promo. He's got the crowd on his side always. The entrance is so over. He's a good wrestler. You know, he's gonna wrestle Braun Breaker tonight. That'll be a good match. I love Jey Uso. He's fantastic. Although it was weird when he came backstage smiling and he sees Jimmy Uso after being like, why? After blowing him off on Monday, now it's just like smiling. Things are like fine. I thought it was like maybe like sarcastic. He's like, yeah, I see you too. And then Roman's like, I'm proud of you. And he's like, no yeet and everything. The Jey Uso promo was good. And Solo being like, I'm trying to keep the family together. I need you to acknowledge me. I need Roman to acknowledge me. Jay being like, this dude keeps looking at me. I'm going to smack it. I'm going to knock his ass on the ground. Solo holding him. That was good stuff. And now I assume we'll get Bloodline interference tonight. I don't know if it's going to cost Jay the title, but it could be a DQ. But I expect it to happen.
I think, you see, this is the problem with what happened on Friday, because Jay went up to Roman and got the acknowledgement that he won the Intercontinental Championship. He got to put it in his face without literally putting it in his face, because he had the title on kind of backpack style, like Roman used to carry it, by the way. Surprised no one's giving Jey Uso shit about that. I don't know if you remember this. Back when Roman had the US title, this was 2019, 2018. People were like, oh, Roman doesn't care about the US championship. He just thinks it's like a backpack that you sling over the back of his shirt. Nobody cares. Showing disrespect to the title. Notice how that's gone. That argument is not there for Jey Uso, and he's carrying it the same way. But anyway, I digress. He got to go up to Roman and basically put that title in his face and say, I am the man. And Roman was just like, I'm proud of you. But what does Jey do? And he just says, no yeet. He's not ready to accept any sort of praise from Roman. He doesn't trust him. He doesn't like him. This was the man that gaslit him and did everything he needed to do to keep him in check until Jey left the family. I like that. But now I'm thinking to myself, shit, if he drops that title tonight and he goes back to Roman, then we're just back to square one. What are we doing? If Roman and Jimmy can prove their allegiance to Jey starting tonight by stopping Bloodline 2.0 from coming out and getting involved, not necessarily Roman because it's Roman, or maybe they want to do a big thing and Roman comes out for a minute. If they can save Jey, even though Jey didn't save Roman on Friday, if they can,
Jey left.
Jey did leave, but if they can prove somehow that they still give a shit about their brother, then that's the good start of it. And then you don't have the Intercontinental Championship, given back to Braun Breaker 2 weeks later.
Well, it doesn't have to go back to him. If they just beat him up and it's a DQ, that's that. It's
You can
just
do
it's a
that.
DQ. Like, it doesn't have to be. That's where my head's at. I feel like it's gonna be a DQ. I don't think it's gonna be uh, a title change. And if it is, I'm kind of okay with it. Like, one, I think Braun Breaker is obviously good enough to hold the title. Him holding the title, there's nothing wrong with Braun Breaker having it. It felt like his reign was short in the first place. Two, you mentioned like we got the moment with Roman and Jey, and Roman saying, "I'm proud of you." And Jey remembering all that stuff and being like, "Yeah, you know what? Nah, like cool, but not cool." And he walked away. And now, if you have Bloodline, let's say for argument's sake, we have Bloodline interfere tonight, and Jey loses the title, not a DQ. He loses the title, and you get Bloodline on SmackDown, just being like, this happens when you cross the family. You saw what we did with Roman Reigns last week. You saw what we did to Jimmy Uso last week. You saw what we did to Jey Uso on SmackDown. This is what happens when you cross the family. I don't think it should be like Jey going back to Bloodline, to Roman and Jimmy, by the way. I think it needs to be potentially however you're going to do it. But Bloodline speaking, Solo speaking, Jey, if he does lose the title tonight, he comes out again on SmackDown, confronts Bloodline, another beatdown. Maybe it sets up a match between Solo and Jey, or Jacob Fatu and Jey. And then you get Roman and Jimmy with a save at the end of SmackDown, whether it be this coming week or maybe it's the following week. And that's how they decide to play it. There's a lot of story here that you don't have to run through in a week. And that's one thing I did like. So we'll talk about the main event segment. I did like that in the main event because they could have easily just had Jey do a save at the end of the show, or Roman could have just gotten the little fallback. Jimmy takes him out, and like however you were gonna set it up. But Roman was left down again, like for the second straight week. How often does that happen? Roman Reigns laid out 2 straight weeks. I know he like kind of knocked everybody out to begin with, but then he got distracted by the little fall, and then he got taken out, and he was again laid out. I like that, and I like the promo. Roman's like, "Yeah, I acknowledge you," and Solo's like, "No, that's I've seen this before. I know what you're doing here. Acknowledgement. You just acknowledge Jey saying you're proud of him. This doesn't mean anything. I need you to acknowledge me as the tribal chief. That's what I need." And when Roman snaps and Solo is like, "Yeah, see, I knew what you were trying to do. I've seen all of this." Like, Roman's showing weakness because Solo, say what you will about Solo. I know people don't look at him as the guy. I completely get that. They look at Jacob Fatu as the guy. Again, I get it. But they've been building Solo as best they can with everything. I think his wrestling and some of the way he's been booked holds him back more than the actual story arc with him. I think they've done everything they can story arc wise with him. I think his wrestling is not as, I had talked about this before Jacob Fatu came in. He needs to be just a little bit more aggressive when he's like in the ring, and a little bit more showing that killer instinct that Jacob Fatu kind of shows that Solo has not always shown. And I do think they could have done better of just like giving Solo some wins when it made him look a little bit stronger when they didn't. But as a character, they've done really well with him. And I thought it was another strong segment on SmackDown where he was not buying the Roman character, the Roman acknowledgement. It was like, nah, I see who you are. And there it goes. There you go, snapping. There you go. You can't get your way. And here you go trying to yell at people. You did this to Jimmy. You did this to Jey. It ain't working on me. You ain't got the wise man around here. None of this is working on me. I'm above your little games. I thought it was good stuff.
I loved when Solo threw that back in Roman's face. I loved it. I thought that was a character beat that you didn't expect from a guy like Solo, who's been made to look like an idiot time and again when we get to the big matches. This time he took the one guy, Roman Reigns, and basically said, "No, I know your game. I know your brand of bullshit, and it's not going to work on me because I lived it. I literally watched you, and he sat in the back. That's all he had to do the entire time Roman was on top. He just had to sit back and watch it happen because he was never made to look like the idiots that the Usos were. And now he knows how to deal with that guy. I really like that they use that as a character beat, as a reason for Solo to be annoyed with and just over Roman Reigns. Going back to the Jey Uso Intercontinental Championship stuff, when I'm thinking about the card for Survivor Series, I'm thinking about what titles you can put on the line, what the matches are going to be. And if we're only going to do a 5-match card for this show, like they did last year, hell, last year this year they could do a 4-match card if they really wanted to. But the show's also going to be starting early. That could mean a longer show. I don't know. Regardless, I could see Jey walking into War Games with that Intercontinental Championship around his waist, because you don't need an Intercontinental Championship match, given that you do a War Games match for the men. Hypothetically, you do one for the women as well. Cody and KO is probably going to happen at that Survivor Series. Gunther and CM Punk is a possibility. Maybe you do a U.S. Championship match. That's 5 matches right there. So the Intercontinental Championship doesn't really matter quite as much for the actual show Survivor Series, but you can still use it as a bit of a prop for the Bloodline story. And I'm not against keeping that going. So maybe do a DQ finish, keep Braun Breaker looking strong, and then maybe, I don't know, put him in a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series match or whatever it's going to be for Survivor Series itself.
Yeah, so, I don't know if they're going to have the Intercontinental title when it comes to Jey Uso. I think there's an argument for the title being around Jey longer, and I think there's an argument for Jey not really needing the title. Like, it was a good moment when he won, and I think he can carry it for a while and it'd be fine. But it's also like, it's not essential right now. The winning was the moment. Him winning the title was what the character needed. Him holding the title is not exactly what he needs, because he proved, especially if you get it off of him by 4 guys interfering and costing him, and it's not like a clean victory for Braun Breaker. If it's his family coming in and taking him out, then people aren't going to look at that and be like, oh, well, you made Jey look kind of weak in here. Him winning was what he needed to prove to Roman, I can do this on my own. And he did that. So him losing with potentially 4 guys costing him, it still proved his point. And it proved that, hey, maybe you do need Roman. Maybe, like, at least in this scenario, clearly you can beat Braun Breaker on your own. You can beat other people on your own. But in this scenario, maybe you do need your family.
Masha Slamovich is doing an AMA on Reddit. Have fun with that.
Okay, what a weird left turn that was.
Sorry, I just saw it and I needed to put it out there. My left turn is actually moving to Cody. Cody and the belt from. Looking at that big gaudy belt and thinking of his daughter. That's what I do when I think about this big gaudy belt. He's trying to make the match more important.
But see, Cody, he's an idiot.
But he comes off as an idiot. It was fine. The promo was fine. The belt is ugly as sin. He's trying to make you diamonds. It's a lot of diamonds. It's very Art Deco. It's like, it's big and it's gaudy, and Cody's probably gonna lose. But what do you think of this promo? It existed. Cody did make a good he did some good historical referencing, talking about all these matches of the past, some that have happened, some that have not. The ones that have happened are ones that didn't have definitive winners. I'm not a big fan of Cody going out there and telling the fans there will be a definitive winner, when it's like, you don't know that. This is wrestling. Someone can come in and, use a hammer and beat you up or whatever. Like, there could be a disqualification. Those things do exist and you can't control that. Telling the fans there will be a definitive winner is not, to me, something that a wrestler needs to go out on a televised wrestling show and say it, especially when Triple H had tried to do the same thing when he introduced the title of Bad Blood. It was like, there will be a winner. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Wall it off. Keep it at that. So that you can tell people, I said there would be a winner. So-and-so got involved. We're going to restart this match. There will be a winner. Instead, Cody did it. And I was like, come on, man, relax.
I mean, sure, in kayfabe, him saying there will be a definitive winner doesn't make a whole lot of sense because, yeah, Cody can't control if Ludwig Kaiser or some random person gets involved. But if you're trying to sell this match, saying, hey, there will be a definitive winner, that's a pretty good sell. Now you have to honor that because now if somebody does get involved, then it becomes, well, okay, Cody lied. And that doesn't look great. I would hope they've got the idea for this finish and everything laid out, and there will be a definitive winner. And like Cody said, definitive winner, right? And that those are his words.
Yeah, definitive winner.
Okay. Well, if Kevin Owens comes out and gives Cody a stunner and Gunther wins, the winner's still pretty definitive. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not how people wanted to get there, but like that's a definitive winner that like Gunther still won the match. I think that's what Cody was alluding to more than like, hey, there's not going to be any double DQ or count out or schmoz or anything like that. Somebody's going to win this match. Now, how they win, who may get involved in the process, that I can't control. But there will be a definitive winner. That's kind of what I took it as.
Okay, that's fair. I took it more from, like you said, the kayfabe, telling you, hey, buy this pay-per-view or watch this pay-per-view on a Saturday morning because, you got nothing else better to do, but there will be a winner. Someone's going to win this big, ugly title that you'll never see again. You might not even see it the year after next. It's just going to exist. Someone's going to pull it up and raise it above their head, and then they'll never see it again. You know where it's going to sit? It's going to sit in some Saudi king's
Triple H's office.
I don't think it's going to make it backstage side. I think it's going to go there and it's just going to live in Saudi for the rest of the time. You know where they're going to put it? They're going to put it in the WWE experience that they have in Riyadh or wherever it is. That's where they're going to put it on display with like the winner of that behind a banner. That's it.
It does feel like Cody's going to lose due to Kevin or Randy like getting involved in some way because there's an out with Cody, right? That's your out. With Gunther, there's not quite the out that's there. There's no one he's really kind of feuding off the periphery with. He wrapped up everything with Sammy. CM Punk referenced him, but that was before Hell in a Cell, and then CM Punk's been off television. So there's no real person who feels like they can get involved. I guess Goldberg, sure, if you want to bring in Goldberg.
Yeah, people keep talking about Goldberg as a possibility, and I'm like, can we just not?
I mean, it is a possibility it's been brought up on television, so the possibility is there. I actually don't want to dismiss it fully. I don't think it's going to happen, but I also don't think it's fully correct to dismiss it because it was something that did happen on television, and so there is a possibility that it happens. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, his son Gage. I don't know if Colorado has a football game that weekend. We'll see with that. But yeah, Cody, the promo.
Don't. Sean's already put that out there. That's their bye week.
Okay. All right.
So, there you go.
All right. The Cody promo, he did his best. Cody did what he could with the material he was given. And that's why Cody is as good as he is. Because the material given, it wasn't that great. He's trying to sell a belt that no one cares about. He's trying to sell a match that we should be excited for, but a lot of people see it for what it is. And it's a tough gig. But if anybody can do it, Cody can do it. And he did his best with it.
The Goldberg stuff is May is the off season. Is May still off season for football and all that?
Yeah. I mean, way before that, like bowl games wrap in like January. So
I reference this because they go in May and November. Those are the times of year when WWE goes to Saudi Arabia. Those are their two shows. I don't know if Goldberg considers himself to be in quote unquote ring shape. Remember, he's mentioned a million times how he has to be like in Goldberg shape or Goldberg mode to do wrestling. He was like, I hate it. It sucks, blah, blah, blah. But I do it because I want to be a superhero for the kids. And now more than ever for my kid, whatever. I can see him being brought up for Bad Blood and then being like, you want to do a match? And him being like, okay, I got to get into Goldberg shape. He can't do that in a couple of weeks. I think maybe it's more likely he gets involved closer to May. and does a match there. They have it there. Like they've introduced the idea, but I think maybe they'll just wait it out until May, assuming Gunter is still good to go and the plans can go.
Well, he's obviously not wrestling this.
No,
this
they can
show.
have him get involved, but then I don't know if you really want to stretch. Do you do Goldberg versus Gunter at stateside? I don't think Goldberg wants that. I think Goldberg wants the big check that comes with his final match being in Saudi.
Partly, yeah, I can believe that. I can also believe Goldberg, instead of let's perform in front of all these Saudi fans, would want to perform, in front of the US fans who grew up watching him and liking him.
Andrew Zarian in the chat wants Goldberg every day on THC.
Fair. On
Zarian.
THC. Wow.
Yeah, that's what he said. THC. That's what he says.
Okay.
Zarian, come and join the show. You know the link. You have it already. Don't tell me you're at work. Nobody needs that.
We got to wrap up because I got to listen to this Donald Trump interview with The Undertaker.
Do you really have to do that?
Somebody's got to, Joel.
It's true. When does it drop?
It's now. It's already premiered.
Oh, it's already premiered.
Yeah, it dropped at 11. Yeah.
Should we end early today so you can get
No, we don't have to end early. We got 15 minutes. It's fine. I'm just saying, like, this is for those curious about how I'm spending my day. I listened to this friggin' Piers Morgan roundtable nonsense over the weekend, and now
don't call me bro.
Monday,
don't call me bro.
That actually ruled. With Mushroom. Was like, don't call me bro.
You know how amazing it is to watch a bunch of old white men argue on the internet, on television, like on a show that is on the internet, when they don't understand the idea of latency, because they're talking over each other, thinking that they're in real time, but in reality, there's like a 5-second buffer between them, and they just trip over each other. It's so awkward and so awful. It was bad.
It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Old ass motherfucker.
It wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't good, but like it wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be. That when, they're like, hey, say a bunch of bad things about Phil Mushnick. And then they're like, anyway, here's our surprise guest, Phil Mushnick.
Here's Phil Mushnick.
I popped for that. And yeah, I sped run it, speed run and everything. Like, it was what it was. I don't want to say I've listened to worse interviews, but like I've listened to some pretty bad interviews. I'm about to listen to one in 15 minutes, I imagine. And so that's going to be something. Hey, shout out to RJ City. He did a good interview with Francine. That was a lot of fun. I apologize if I set his mentions on fire this weekend.
That's fine. I'm sure he appreciated it. It's either that or he just fights trolls who are like, you should color your hair because you got grays. And he's like, shut the fuck up. That's all he needs to do.
RJ City's great.
He is. He won't make you wait 30 minutes for an interview after a show, I promise. Candice LeRae, your favorite wrestler, won a match on SmackDown.
Do love Candice LeRae. Shooter Candice? Hell yeah. I was so happy she got on SmackDown and won. Like that was... Bailey is the absolute best, by the way, because Bailey wants so much for the division. She talks about it all the time. And it's very clear if you watch the show that what Bailey puts into the segments and who she wants to try to give time to. Becky Lynch was the same way. And like her basically going out there, I assume, it's not factual. Nobody report this or anything. Nobody listens to this show anyway.
Nope.
Especially after the first 30 minutes we did today.
Actually, I was going to say, you don't even have to add today as the qualifier. If you look at our numbers, 26 minutes, people are like, nah, fuck the show.
Yeah.
I get it.
But Bailey, I assume, was like, yeah, I'll lose to Candice. Why wouldn't I lose to Candice? Bailey's pretty bulletproof. It's not like they got huge plans for Bailey right now, right? She just lost the title to Nia at SummerSlam. She lost the rematch. So she's not going to be back in the title picture anytime soon. So Candice winning this match, and Nia being like, oh, well, okay, all right. You getting Candice, over on here. Now it looks like we might get Indy and Bailey this week on SmackDown in Brooklyn. Good on Bailey, man. She wants the best for the division. She's always spoken how much she wants for the division and how she always is trying to uplift it and role model for a reason.
She's going to be a part of that War Games match, that Candice LeRae.
I hope so.
She's done it before.
Candace rules. I want Shooter Candace out here. She should have. That's what she should have done. Bailey should have just whack. Been like, I don't need you to give me these opportunities. I'm gonna take these opportunities myself. Shooting on Bailey.
Good question. Was this the first time a speed champion was acknowledged on TV? I think they've acknowledged that Andrade was the speed champion. They just he never brought the belt out because that's a whole agreement that they have.
They acknowledged Ricochet as the champion too. I'm like 99% certain they acknowledged Ricochet as the champion. Yeah, they don't put the title out there because I think it's like an X exclusive or whatever. Like the title can only show on X.
You know, Elon has a problem with every single, place that's not his own. So
yeah.
He wants exclusivity.
Yeah, but they've acknowledged the speed kind of realm before.
Yeah, so this time, if you haven't seen the little segments that Indy Hartwell and
she's
Candice LeRae are using, they're very, very good. So I would encourage you to go and check out Indy Hartwell's socials. She and Candice are having a lot of fun with that, and that's the kind of stuff that gets you noticed and gets you eventually put on television for whatever, just to give you a little reward for busting your ass and putting yourself out there. Candice is undefeated in War Games. It is worth mentioning. She could be the ace in the hole for the ace in Nia's hole.
That felt unnecessary.
And most of what I say feels unnecessary, but here we are. Anything else from SmackDown that we need to touch on? We talked about Cody. We talked about the Bloodline and Candice. It looks like we're going to get a triple threat for the U.S. title eventually. LA Knight. Yeah, it's going to be a special referee for Game 7 because that's what you do.
It was weird that they advertised that for this week and it was like, anyway, it's next week.
Yeah, that was like, well, we're going to bump it. Okay.
I got so scared when Nia Jax is backstage on the phone with Tiffany Stratton and Tiffany's like sick. I was like, oh my God, they're going to cancel this match. This is like the only women's match on the show and they're going to cancel this freaking thing. Oh, that's not going to go over well. Because I was like, oh, Roman went long, Solo went long, all these people went long, and now they're going to have to just cancel this match. But they didn't. They did not cancel the match. Not only did they not cancel the match, they did Lash Legends against Piper Niven.
And it was good.
Yeah, Lash getting a big victory there. So not only did they not cancel the one women's match that we thought was going to take place, we got another women's match on the show. The bar is kind of low, but at least they're getting over it.
Lash was good, man. Lash is, someone in the chat saying she's improved so much. I think it's like I said, she found that moment and she realized, and someone else had pointed this out. She realized that she is larger than most of the other women she works with, and somebody turned her on to working for her size and not working to the size of the smaller women that she works with. And as a result, she has been able to improve and really up her game and put on a much better performance as a wrestler than her contemporaries. So good for her, man. Her picking up Piper Niven was a moment. People were big into that. You had the reaction of Bianca and Jade in the crowd doing the whole like, oh, okay, we see you. There was some really, really good stuff. I like it, man. Lash and Jakara Jackson have a lot of opportunity here as they kind of build them through this Saudi pay-per-view season. And then they come back and go to NXT.
I think when it clicked for Lash was, I think working on screen with like Noam Dar and in those segments like really helped her out. I think ring wise, when I started to see kind of the difference and maybe it clicked for her. Remember when she slammed Otis and that was like a pretty big deal of like, oh, wait, look at, they're having a woman slam a man. Like Rhea did it to Gallows on TV, but like, for that to happen on NXT, I think that's when you mentioned her working to her size and her being, bigger than a lot of the women in the division and stronger than a lot of women in the division. There's just not a whole lot of people to work. This is something that we discussed previously with like Jade, especially in AEW. There just weren't a whole lot of women her size in AEW. Where in WWE, they have a little bit more women who she can work with, who can go kind of power for power with her. But when Lash slammed Otis, that's when it felt like they saw something of like, this is what we need out of you. We are going to give you this moment where you were slamming a male competitor, and this is the type of stuff we want to see from you. And it seemed like ever since then in ring, she's really started to see like, okay, I see what they want now. I see what I can be. I can see what they envision for me. And now they've clearly trusted me with this spot. So they know that I can do this. So I believe I can do this.
Yeah, and people should be believing that that they're good at doing this, and they are. So 4-way women's tag title matching coming. That's what I feel.
I don't know if Piper and Chelsea, I mean, like they can get in because they're funny and they're comedy, like they can get in it that way. But like
I mean, I
Piper and
feel like
Chelsea don't
Chelsea
feel part of that.
Chelsea will just beat Jakara Jackson on Friday.
Maybe, but they don't feel part of it. Like I think a 3-way is better.
While I agree with you, I feel like you got to add the SmackDown person, the SmackDown team, because you don't have a SmackDown team.
I mean, technically, Jade and Bianca are the SmackDown team,
But they're also the champions, and they can go between any of the brands. Not that the brand split is real.
Yeah,
Anyway, it's not real. It's not real. It's not important. Don't worry about the brand split. It's over. Should we preview Monday Night Raw and get on out of here for tonight?
Sure.
Monday Night Raw live from Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the site of NXT on CW in November. In that they'll be in Philly, not at Wells Fargo. They'll be at the 2300 Arena. A lot of people hate working the 2300 Arena because it's not very well suited for getting around. But good luck. Anyway, the Intercontinental Championship is on the line. Jey Uso defends against Braun Breaker. Should be a fun match. I assume this is the main event, considering everything else is just kind of there.
I don't know if it's the main event because of what we talked about earlier of, are you going to do a DQ in the main event? Maybe.
I mean, if it's a big beatdown segment, you do.
Yeah. Maybe they do because it ends at 10 o'clock now and 11 o'clock. I never liked doing a DQ in the main event regardless. I think it is a disservice to the fans who have spent the entire show there. And then the main event is obviously the biggest match on the show, at least it should be. And then you don't give them a finish after all of that. I guess if you want to parse it of, okay, well, the show ends at 10 and not 11, so at least you're sitting through one less hour. It's a little bit better, but I never like doing a DQ in the main event. It doesn't sit well with me unless there is a segment after. Like that can't be the conclusion to the show, even if there's a big beatdown. It just doesn't sit well with me. Like I know WWE does it. It's not like they haven't done it before. I feel like they did it probably more recently than I want to recall, but I just don't like it.
Just how Joe Tessitore say, we're out of time. Local news is next, but it's USA, so there is no local news. World Tag Team Championship Contenders Tournament opens up with New Day taking on Authors of Pain. This is the beginning of the redemption arc of the New Day that falls apart in the finals when they lose to, I don't know, Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio.
I feel like they're gonna lose here.
I don't think they're. I think we're taking on a ride. I think this is the rebuild for a couple of matches, and then they lose in the final, or they lose the tag team title match. Let's say they go all the way. New Day makes it all the way, because again, they got to stretch this shit out until November.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think they're going to get New Day all the way, and they might actually win this whole thing. So okay. New Day wins. They're going to make it to the end of the tournament, and then they're going to lose to the tag team champions, Judgment Day.
Balor.
The Irish heads. And then they're going to take that as you will, whatever. I don't care. But then that'll be the big moment where they're like very close to snapping, and then you get Big E to come out and be like, "Don't you dare be sour." And then they're back together. We're getting up on those 10 years, man. You got to get it somehow. So that's where I think New Day is going to be the Authors of Pain. Going to make the TikTokers look dumb again, because that's what you do. But Karrion Kross and Jesse Ventura will have a Saturday Night's Main Event moment later on in the year. Elsewhere on this card, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee take on American Made.
They should use that theme. American Made. American Made. Should. American Made. American Made. Yeah, that's fine. That should be a good match. Like,
are you gonna have American Made lose again?
No, not if they're about to face New Day. No.
Fair. But I mean, it's Mysterio and Lee. There's already a story with Rey Mysterio and Xavier Woods. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, true.
And you got Dragon Lee teaming up with Rey Mysterio. You can't just have this as a 1 week thing.
And this could honestly go either way, which is good. Good. I like a little intrigue in these matches. I could see this. Just like I can kind of see AOP and New Day going either way, because I could totally see that New Day are not on the same page that they're usually on, and the Cross is going to be out there, so that might happen. When did the barcode QR code pop up last week? Wasn't that during the Karen Cross segment?
It was Miz.
Cross and Miz,
kind of
yeah.
The focus is Miz now.
Okay. So at some point they're gonna get involved, but okay, if it's Miz and not Karen Cross as their next target, then
which, by the way, that would be perfect. Let the Wyatt Six completely make Miz look like an idiot. People will just go for it. They'll be fine with it.
Bray
joins the Wyatt Six.
Oh, that would be some great comedy. I don't know if that's how you want to fully present the Wyatt Six, but that would be hilarious.
It would be great.
Bray character. I want to preface this character. Bray Wyatt, the character, was not a nice person to the Miz.
That's just your point. That's the point you're making.
Yes.
Okay. I hear you, and I agree with you. When Bray was the champion, it wasn't the Fiend versus the Miz. It was Bray Wyatt dressed as Bray Wyatt versus the Miz.
Yes,
that was definitely what happened.
Yeah, he was not a nice person to him. So
no.
I don't feel like the Wyatts are in the right for going after the Miz.
Oh, we're gonna find out soon enough when they make their return. Maybe next week. Maybe this week. Maybe in Saudi Arabia. I don't know. Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins go face to face. I'm sure this should open. It won't open the show. Maybe this is a crossover. This is probably 9 o'clock. The 9 o'clock segment. I'd probably open with a hot match. Do the Dragon Lee Rey Mysterio match first versus American Made.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 2-hour Raw, so I'm sure everyone's going to be tucked in watching the show. No one's going to go to bed early tonight.
The 2-hour Raw was a lot better last week. It was a tape show last week, but it felt like they got it together a little bit more. I'm interested to see how this one goes. Now it's a live show again, and if they pace it kind of like they did last week, because the first week the 2-hour Raw was not paced well. It was very clear that they didn't know how to do a 2-hour Raw, because there's still stuff on like not announced for this show that you would think is gonna play at some point, like the Nia and Liv stuff, and where's Judgment Day kind of fitting into all this? Is Damian Priest still around? Because he hasn't been really on the show the past couple of weeks. So there's people who haven't been featured, which is just kind of the drawback of a 2-hour Raw. You just have less time to feature people. It was Gunther going to be on this show. I know he's going to be on SmackDown doing the face-to-face with Cody, but is he going to show up on this show? They did a good job with the video packages last week, and I imagine we'll get kind of more of this week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Raw tonight. I don't mind that they're kind of cycling people in and out as long as they bring them back for the build to the next story, whatever that's going to be. But we have a couple weeks until that show, Crown Jewel. And then after that, we're on the road to Survivor Series. It'll be fun. We'll be back on Wednesday, talk about AEW Dynamite preview and everything that happened on Raw. The Dynamite preview we will do with those things in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will.
That's right. That's fine.
We might even have a guest. We'll see. If you want a guest, we'll get them. Jeremy, anything to plug other than thoughts and prayers?
Thoughts and prayers for like who and what?
For you having to listen to the interview you're about to listen to.
Oh, yeah. Fair.
Mana, the final boss. And here we go. This is how good. The final. God damn, that's good shit.
God damn, that's good shit.
I'm going to need a bunch of mana to get through this thing.
Then Jeremy Mana, he'll tell you where to buy it for him. If not, just buy him a bunch of stuff on Amazon. I'm sure that Ryan in the chat will help us with that.
Shout out to Ryan.
He's the best.
Yeah.
I had one of those Reese's cups yesterday. I was thinking about it. I now have one left in the fridge.
I gotta eat. I'm eating that thing on the show on Wednesday too.
You know when that thing expires?
Probably like 3 years from now.
Actually, it already expired. It expired in 2022.
Jesus, Joel.
Yeah, I ate it.
Oh, Joel's not going to be on the show on Wednesday. He's getting food poisoning.
I had it last night. I'm fine. I'm definitely still jittery as hell, but we're good.
I'll probably eat one like when it gets here today, and then I'll eat the other one on the show.
There we go. Go eat with us on Wednesday. We'll be back Wednesday morning. That's it. Go subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and leave us a thumbs up. enjoy your wrestling for the week. For Jeremy Lambert, I am Actual Pearl, JOELPEARL. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, I'm going to stretch out the next 30 seconds just filibustering this whole thing. Jeremy's going to come back and tell us all about why this is happening in the wrestling world. Jeremy, why is AEW paying the marks to smile during shows? Who knows? Maybe we'll figure that out at the next show. Maybe we'll have a panel to join us to talk all about AEW and why you should be paying attention to them. And then while we're at it, we'll welcome the executive producers back. Until then.
Oh, you're trying to hit like 2 hours in 2 hours exactly.
Yeah, you bet. We'll see you
Big
next one.
Dick Rider.